Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now apologies that it's been about 4 or 5 months since I've actually done a video. Got a lot of family stuff going on at the minute with the baby on the way, and just not had any time at all to do any sort of videos. However, in that time we've now unfortunately sold the BMW that we had, and we really do miss that car. But on the positive side, we've bought a new car. So this is the Ford Edge Sport 2017 model. It's the shadow black. The only problem with this colour of car is that it's so hard to keep clean, and you can see any sort of scratches and swell marks on it from car washes. But I do plan to detail this car. I do plan to give it a good polish, get rid of all the scratches, and also give it a ceramic coat. So hopefully I can do a nice video for you just to show you how I do that. Nothing too in-depth, just how I would apply a ceramic coat. So this car's got quite a few specs. So it's got reversing cameras front and rear, parking sensors front and rear. Now these are really come in handy with one of these cars because they're so big to park, and it's just trying to get used to the actual parking of it that the cameras really do help us. You don't have the park assist, which I'm not too bothered about because I've been driving the car now for what, 20 years probably I've been driving, and I'm quite sure I'm comfortable enough to park any car. Other assist that it comes with, but they're not so great, is the, I forget what it's called now, traffic lane identification. So it will pick out the white lines and it will let me know if I'm sort of veering over to any of the white lines in the road. The only thing with that is it gives a short sort of vibration to the steering wheel, which in all honesty you can't feel, and it's meant to sort of direct the car away from the lines. But again, I could quite easily crash this car straight into a verge because it won't steer you away from it. It's more like a gentle nudge just to let you know to go over to the left or the right. But nonetheless, obviously it's a nice safety feature to have, but it's not the best safety feature in the world, if I'm honest. Probably works better on all the newer Ford models, but on this one, nah, not that good. It's got a panoramic roof which opens pretty much all the way apart from the back bit there. You can close the blind, open the blind. It's got a little fly trap at the top, so it stops the wind coming in and any flies sort of, well, it won't stop all flies, but it's got a little fly guard, they call it. Oh, one thing it does have, it's got heated front seats and heated rear seats. It's also got air conditioning front seats, so it allows for the cold air to sort of circulate around the seat during the summer months. Not that we get many over here in England, but it does give us the option that when it's them hot days, we do get the air conditioning on the seats, which is quite nice. I've not actually tried it yet, but I'm sure it's good. It's got all the boring options. It's got cruise control, speed limit control, electric windows front and rear. I can do everything from this panel down here on the side, so I can pull the wing mirrors in, put the wing mirrors out, do all the windows, lock the doors, lock the windows from here as well for like child-proof, which we are going to need soon. Another good thing, it's got heated steering wheel. So we bought this in January when it was quite cold, and the heated steering wheel was just amazing. It's just a brilliant thing to have. It takes 2-3 minutes to warm up, and then you're just nice and toasty on your hands for when you're driving. And also it's got the quick clear heated front windscreen, which is a Ford only, I believe. I think they've patented the design. But yeah, so when it's icy, press a button down here and within 2 or 3 minutes the whole windscreen's defrosted, and that is a godsend in the winter. So this particular model is the Power Shift. I don't have a clue what that means, but it says it's 210 PS. So what's that? Say 200 horsepower, 205 horsepower, but it feels like it's about 100 horsepower because the weight of this car, don't get me wrong, it does go, it does move, but it's no race car, obviously. It's not the fastest of cars in the world, but obviously with a baby on board, you're not going to go a million miles an hour. It's a nice cruiser to get you from A to B, and that's the one thing we do miss about the BMW, with that being the 3-litre twin turbo. I mean, that thing did shift. But the thing you didn't get in the BM was all of the luxuries that we've got now. I mean, you can get all the luxuries in the BMW models, but our particular one didn't have any of like the luxuries, and this has even got Apple CarPlay. So you basically plug your phone into the USB down here, and it kind of syncs up your phone contacts, gives you WhatsApp, reads out text messages, reads out your WhatsApp messages, Spotify, Google Maps. So it's got a few of the apps from your phone, and it's quite a nice sort of touchscreen interface. I think this is the Sync 3 model, which is the best of the best apparently, but it's not bad. It's not bad. Keyless entry as well it's got, which is pretty good. So you can have the keys in your pocket, walk up to the door, like all keyless entry cars, walk up to the door, get in, shut the door, press the start button, and away you go, which is quite a nice feature, I think. The only thing I don't like about them is obviously the amount of thefts that you get these days from all keyless entry motors. 2019 and they're still able to just use a computer to quickly unlock your car and nick it. Great. Another great feature I do like about this car though, I'm not going to lie, is the boot. Now that sounds really weird. With the boot, you can open it with your feet. So if you've got the keys on you, there's a sensor at the rear of the car. You put your feet under if you're holding, say, 2 shopping bags, or you've got 2 Amazon parcels or anything like that. Put your foot underneath the boot, and it should, when it works, open up the boot for you, which is obviously a great little feature that I love. Also, it's automatic opening and closing of the boot. So press double tap the boot opening button, and the boot will open up. And also, there's a button on the rear of the boot. Sort of underneath, and as you press that will close the boot for you. Now that sounds really boring, but I'm quite sure that's going to come into its own when we've got the kids and you've got the buggy and you've got shopping and the kids are screaming. You can just open up the boot easy and close it easy, which to me sounds like a great feature, but only time will tell on that one. So most car YouTubers will always turn around and say, what's next for my car? Big plans for the car. So the plans for this is nothing. Basically, we're just going to leave this as our family car. So I've got the Focus that I need some work doing. It's actually starting to get a bit rusty, which I'm not happy about. Typical Ford, getting rusty. So I need to get that down to a body shop and get that looked at. So all of my plans and money are going to be spent on the Focus. With the Edge, I'm basically the only expenses we're going to pay on it is fuel, basically to and from places. That's it. There's no modifications needed. And to be honest, I don't even think there's modifications out there. I don't think there's any remaps that you can get for them just yet. I suppose you could get wheels and brakes, but you don't need it. It's a Ford Edge, for God's sake. So you don't really need to modify these in any way. Just jump in the car and drive. So one of the reasons that we bought this car was basically for because we're having a baby. And the room in the boot is huge. You can get the pram in there, you can get all sorts of stuff in there. And we did originally look at the Cougars. I think we looked at an Evoque as well, but I mean the price of it was far too much for us to get. We got more for our money buying this. I know it's a Ford at the end of the day than we did with the Evoque. You have to spend a lot more money on the Evoque to get a similar type of spec. When in actual fact we got more of a spec in this than we did looking at the Evoque. Also, another good thing I like about these cars is you don't see many of them off the road. Cougars, well you see, you'll probably see about 50 on this journey, and even the Evoques, you see quite a lot of Evoques on the journey as well. I'm a bit of a Ford boy at heart as well, obviously owning the Focus RS. I do like my Fords, don't like them Qashqais. Yes, I mean really there's not like loads and loads. It's not the most exciting car for me to review anyway, because obviously I own the car, but it's a very practical car. I reckon it gets about, well, I think in the book it says 46 miles to the gallon, but that's a lie. I reckon on a good run, 32s. You probably see the 46s when you're on the motorway doing 70 miles an hour exactly on cruise control, perfect temperature, etc. But I reckon we get about 30 miles to the gallon, 35 miles to the gallon, which isn't awful by any means. Yeah, I really do like the display that you get on these Fords now, because this is the digital one, so everything sort of just looks nicer. It's got the ambient lights as well in here, so when it's dark you can change all the colours, but you get like blue, red, orange, then like loads of different colours. This car does come with sports mode. I wouldn't say it's very sporty though, to be honest with you. It's not too bad. Obviously in the Beamer it's lovely having the sport mode, but basically all the sport mode does, as far as I'm aware, is keeps the revs going for longer, and sort of the gear changes sort of happen a bit later on, so you get sort of more speed out of it. But I mean, for what we use it for, it's this perfect little cruiser just to drive around in. I put it in sport mode now, and in actual fact I think that the flappy paddle gearbox is actually a lot better than the BM's one that we had. Obviously it's a lot newer technology, but in the BM it was good, but in here it's much more responsive on the Ford for some reason. But obviously it doesn't really shift that much, if you know what I mean. As long as it beats a Cougar anyway, I don't mind. Not much else to say really. It's a 6-speed gearbox, quite pony when you put it in drive, but it's not the end of the world. I'm in drive now. Drive's fine. Back in sport mode, just pull down on the gear stick, then you're in sport mode. But again, I think me and my wife mainly drive around in sport mode anyway, just to get the most out of the car. You do notice the drop in the fuel consumption, obviously in sport mode. but again, it's not great. The car comes with the 19-inch wheels as standard. I really do like the wheels as well. I really like the colour that the wheels come in. I'm not sure the actual colour of it, but with the black and the grey on the car, it really does sort of, there's something really good looking about these motors. Even the gold one, you get the gold edge. I even really like that colour, but I think that's a bit too that's too much in our face for me and my wife to get that one. We was going to get the white one, but because of the BM being white, we said, do you know what, let's go with the black car. The best thing about the black car, and hopefully I can show that in my up and coming videos, will be the gloss that you get once you sort of polish a black car. This is something that you can't beat with the gloss. The only problem, like I said before, with the black cars is that it shows up the dirt really quickly. Any scratches you may get on the car shows up really quickly. But once you've polished it and shined it and put a ceramic coat on there, hopefully that will stay in good nick. As I said before, so hopefully there'll be some videos coming up soon of the Focus. Checking underneath it, there's quite a bit of rust on there, and I did notice in the garage the other day the arches are starting to bubble up on the outside, so I'm going to need to get some work done on it really. I'm going to attempt to do a lot of it myself where I can, but other than that it's going to go into a body shop and actually get professionals to do it, because I can't weld to save my life. And painting, I'm not too bad painting, but you can't beat the finish from a gun. You get a good finish from a can, but I'm not, for the sake of the car, I'm not going to put a rattle can to it. It's definitely going to get the spray gun finish. So the bad points about this car, the main one being the front seats. These seats here, there's no bolster to it, you know, you're kind of moving around all the time. There's no support to these seats. Not that you need it, because you're not going to throw this car around. But even when you go around corners, you know, a bit of support is quite nice to have. And with this, you just don't get any support whatsoever. It's not the quickest of cars, like I said earlier. You know, it's a 2-litre diesel, 210 horsepower, but I mean, I don't know how much it weighs, but it probably weighs over 2 tonne. And trying to get that with 210 horsepower, it's just it moves, but it's not the fastest of cars. Oh, that's another thing I hate as well, is automatic start-stop, and I always forget to turn it off. I do not see the point in the automatic start-stop. I can't really see how it saves the world. The brakes on this car as well are disgusting. They'll stop the car, but they're not good at all. They're quite sort of spongy brakes. They're not the best, and I don't even think there's like replacement pads out there. You know, like with my Focus, the original pads are quite good, but then you can upgrade it to like, I think it's the Frodo DS 2500s. But with this car, you just literally cannot sort of change or upgrade many of the parts. You do get a bit of a blind spot here on the A-pillar. It's not massive, but with the wing mirror being there and the A-pillar being quite big, it is a bit sort of distracting. I mean, you should be able to see what's there, but it is quite a big area to sort of get blocked. The blind spot here on the B-pillar though is quite bad. It's quite chunky in this sort of section here, and you've really got to sort of turn around and look in your blind spot, or, you know, check your mirrors regularly, which you should be doing anyway, obviously. But yeah, I don't really like the blind spot here. It's a bit crap really. You can really hear the diesel sloshing around in the back as well. I don't understand that. Like, the fuel, it feels like the fuel tank's like behind me, like literally behind me in the back seat. When you feel this, when it gets low on fuel, it's not as bad. But when you've got a full tank, all you can hear is the diesel just, every time you stop, you can hear it like just sloshing backwards and forwards, and that's another bad point about this car. But the thing is, with cars, I find with car reviews is that what I say doesn't necessarily mean anything. All the bits that I like, someone else might go out and buy it and say, oh, actually, I don't like that about that car. So I'm not going to try and, I can tell you what I think all the good points are and what I think the bad points are, but it doesn't really mean a thing. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you're new here, please subscribe. Give us a thumbs up as well if you like the video. And if you don't like the video, tell me what to change. I don't know. You know, I'm new to all this anyway. I've done a few videos in the past, and if you think there's anything I can change, let me know. I know some people are really harsh. That's fine. I don't really care. But yeah, if you let me know anything I can change, like for future videos, that'd be great. Yeah. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.